In this video, we're going to be working through the resource summary page of the MENA database. The resource summary page is the first page you come to when you create a new Heritage Resource E27, which you can reach by clicking Resource Manager in the top right and selecting from the drop-down list. The first section of the resource summary page is Resource ID. When using the MENA database, we create a specific ID based on the grid system that we use to geolocate sites. As with the other videos in this tutorial, we'll be using the Eastern Acropolis of Cyrene as an example. So the E21 North 32 relates to the general latitude and longitude position of the site. We can choose to discard these edits or click Add if we're happy. If we want to edit this entry at all, click on the entry and it'll take it back into the edit box where we can make any changes necessary. Click Add when you're complete. Next we move to resource names. Here, if we have a name, we can type it in. In this case, again, the Eastern Acropolis of Cyrene. To the right of this, we can choose a type. We would define this as a toponym. If you're happy with your selection, click Add. If you need to make any further edits to your entry, click on the entry itself as it drops down and make any changes necessary. If you want to discard it completely, click the red X at the left of the entry. In the case of the Eastern Acropolis of Cyrene, there are multiple names. We also have a designated name. And now in type, we'll click Designation. Multiple names can be added to this list. Again, we can delete this name, or we could click on it to make any edits necessary. Next, we move to site function, which is a very general term to describe the type of function we think the feature or heritage record had. Again, we can type in the term if we know it from the list below, and it will bring up the correct term from the drop-down list. And again, we select our certainty. As we're dealing with a known necropolis, we can say definitely that this is a funerary and memorial site. For many sites, we're often unsure, so we click unknown in the list and then not applicable in the certainty. Then we click Add. Moving down the list, next we come to overall site morphology. This is used to give an idea of how the site is formed. Is it a positive built feature rising up from the ground? In this case, we know that it is. But we also know, as a cemetery site, there are many dug aspects of the site. Negative, cut, dug features. So we can add multiple terms in this area. Again, if you want to edit any of these, you can click on the entry and it'll take it back to the edit box, or click the X to delete completely. Next, we come to the overall site shape, which refers to the way that we recorded the site as a whole. In this case, because it's just a large site that we have grouped together, we would class it as user-defined. Click Add if you're happy with the entry, and again, click on the entry if you need to edit, or the X to delete. Next we come to the overall site certainty. How certain are we that this is a genuine heritage site? In this case, again, we know that we're working from published resources and that it is definitely a heritage site. When working with remote sensing imagery or other less certain evidence bases, we might choose a lower term within that list. Next, we come to the cultural period. We can attach cultural periods to a heritage record that we know are associated with that particular site. There's a pre-subscribed long list of different cultural periods already entered into the database, from which we must choose. We can also type in the terms if we know that they are in the list, and it will bring up choices of possible terms. And then we choose the certainty that that cultural period is associated with the site. Again, working from published sources, we can say that it is definitely related to that period. But we know that the necropolis was used over multiple periods, so we can add them in one by one. If a cultural period is not in the list, it cannot be added. And it may be that some cultural periods are not definite and can be selected at a different level of certainty. But in this case, again, working from a published source, we can be certain that all these periods occur at the site. It does not matter in which order you enter the cultural periods. So Hellenistic can come after Byzantine. We're not using the time span phases at the moment. This is a redundant section of the database currently. Finally, as long as you're a registered user in the MENA database, your assessor name will be added to a list of a drop-down list of users. In this case, I am Michael Fradley. And we can choose whether the evidence being entered is desk-based or field-based. In this case, although we're using old reports, it is desk-based. And the date at which the data was entered. The date can be changed, but will always open on the current date. In this case, the 2nd of November, 2017. And then we click Add. Multiple resource assessor names can be added to this list. If we are happy with everything, we can save, or can choose to discard edits by selecting the red button in the bottom right of the screen. But in this case, we can say that the record is complete, and we can click Save Edits, which takes us back to the top of the screen with all the edits saved and an Arches ID added. We then move on to the next necessary tab within the MENA database. Again, we can come back and make any edits necessary.